Hi, this is a review on 3 different earphones. These are in-ear earphones, and just describing the difference. For example, these are in-ear earphones, so as opposed to the older generation, these are Sennheiser older generation, very good earphones. And then these here we have the Beats. You can see they actually go in your ear with these pods over here, or buds. Some people call them buds. So it is these type of earphones, and the purpose of these earphones is that they are Bluetooth, so you do not need to have the line connector with these earphones. So this is the purpose of these earphones, and I'm going to compare these 3. I have the Anker SoundBuds Sport, I have the Phaiser Tecton BHS-730, and I have the Cheetah by Mpow, and I'm going to unbox them, show you what's included in the packaging. I'm going to compare them. I have listened to them, and here we go. The first is the Anker. It's the most simplistic packaging. I've already used these. I've used all of these earphones, so they have already been unboxed. So I've just put them back in the box just to show you. You get a velvet type, almost like a purse that's got a magnetic or like a spring system here. Inside there you would get the very short USB charging cable, and this cable is noticeably short. It's only 27 centimeters long. That's wrapped up in this Velcro, so this Velcro now is not necessary. That's what the Velcro, it comes with a Velcro strap. Then you get the earphones themselves. That's what they look like, and some accessories. There are the accessories, and then there's the instructions. So just looking firstly at the accessories, you will get different size buds. You get a small, a medium, which is already fitted. There we go. And then you get a large. To remove these, you just pull them off like so, and you can put on another size. You also get these fittings, which are also rubberized, which are supposed to go in the anti-helix of your ear, and you can also change them. You've got a small, medium, and large, and on the rubberizing, it's actually in the mold. It says medium, and this one says large, so they are labeled, and that goes on the unit as so, and you can see how it peels off and peels on very easily. It's quite a nice rubber. It's definitely very durable. I mean, you can see how I'm manipulating this. These are IP rated, so they can take a bit of moisture. I wouldn't dunk them in water. They are only IP rated. I think it is IPX4. Right. The next earphones are the Phaiser. So I'm going to put these away now. I will compare these each earphone side by side, but first is just the unboxing. Right, the next one is the Tecton by Phaiser, a very snug box, like quite a thick cardboard, like almost like a packaging box. You open it on the side. Directly inside you'll find a zip case with the instructions and some warranty information. The zip case, it has got the label on here. It says Phaiser. The zip case opens like so, and I have already opened all these little packets that with all the fittings that were in there. So it did come in these packets, just to be accurate. You get the charging USB cable, a much longer one compared just to give you an idea, you're getting a 85cm cable, USB cable. I am still going to compare the earphones side by side. You will see that soon. The earphones themselves, this is what they look like. And then the accessories. The accessories you get is a clip, which is actually very useful. So you can thread the cord like so, and then you can clip this. This is actually a very good feature. Sometimes when you use these earphones and you turn your head, when earphones are deep in your ear canal, knocking on the cord actually makes a sound. So it can be quite annoying when this earphone strap moves, and that is one of the benefits of the Cheetah, which I will discuss just now, because this is a totally different design. Right, then we get a different design here. We get the bud and rubberizing that holds it in your anti-helix of your ear, and you've got your 3 different sizes: small, medium and large. Already fitted is the medium, and it does say large, just like the Anker. Now what is interesting is, if you look at the Anker has a 2-part system. The part that fits into the your ear is separate from the bud, whereas the Phaiser, it's one unit. So you have the fitting to placement into hold in your ear so it doesn't move, plus the bud. However, what is actually even more interesting is the Phaiser gives you more options, because maybe you don't want that option, then it gives you these extra buds. So then what you could do is you could remove this completely and then use it just in the same way you would. Okay, well you'll just put this on like so. It's quite a tight fitting, which is actually a good thing. Right, so you'll put that on, and now it's closer to the right. Okay, so you'll put this on. Now it is closer to the older generation. Here I've got the Beats. You can see there's no fitting, no rubberizing for holding it in your ear. So this is, if you're used to this system and you don't want the rubberizing, it's quite nice. There's that option. Now that doesn't mean that the Anker can't do that, because you can also just remove this from the Anker. For example, you could remove this piece and also use it just with the bud itself. So don't worry if you see this on the picture and you think you're forced to use the rubberizing with that, because in the packaging does come with these options. And again, small, medium, large. Right, then you get another clip, so you've got 2 clips. Right, packing that away now. Oh yes, and then what's also nice is you get almost an ear plug bud. So these are buds that you can put on here, made of a foam. So I don't know if you're familiar with the ear plugs that you normally roll them in your finger and you make them small, and then you insert it into your ear. So this is quite nice because it does offer some extra isolation, and also it's very soft. Okay, now moving on to the Mpow. This is probably the most premium packaging. It's also magnetized. It's got a very nice feel. It actually feels like the Beats earphones when you buy a pair of Beats. This is what the packaging felt like. It's got some shiny gloss writing there. Right, to open it up, you immediately see the design of these is completely different from the other 2. You can take the earphones out. There they go, and this is the lifting. You lift that up. There's the instructions. You get again a short USB cable, but a little bit longer than the Anker. This one is let's see, you're getting 35 centimeters of your USB cable, and then your different size pods, or buds, sorry. So there's the Mpow. If you want to change these bud sizes, there it comes with a small, medium and large. And the USB cable. Right. Right, I'm now going to compare these three in terms of their physical properties. Then afterwards I will discuss the features. Let's weigh them, get the mass. Starting with the Anker. We have a, the Anker is weighing in at 14,7 grams. So that's 14,7. The Phaiser is weighing in at, let's put this on there, 15,7. So it's a little bit heavier by 1 gram, so it's really negligible. And then the Mpow is the heaviest at 22,4. But all three of these are less than 30 grams. In terms of the dimensions, if you're looking at how long this cord is, comparing the Phaiser to the Anker, you can see that they are very close in length. The Phaiser is a little bit longer. So if I measure them, the Anker is almost 60 and the Phaiser 62. So again, 2 centimeter, it's actually negligible. Now you're actually seeing these two sticking together. Both these units have a little magnet to magnetize it. For example, when you're done with the Anker, you can do that. Maybe if you rest it on your neck, you can wear it as a necklace and it looks like that. The magnet is not very strong. I'm sure that they didn't want to put a large neodymium magnet here. So this is, I mean, if you bump it, it does separate. Then the Phaiser has got a more, well, let's say a stronger magnet in terms of the attraction force. So if you bump it, yes, it does still separate, but it is more, yeah, you can see that's what I'm talking about, how it is more attractive to each other. And then just comparing these two, because these two are almost in the same class, just looking, the thing that does stand out is if you look at how the profile of the unit is. See, that's quite important. The Anker is, you're looking at 32 mils or 3.2 centimeters, while the Phaiser is 35. So it's a few mils higher or it's a few mils higher in terms of its profile. So when it's in your ear, the Phaiser actually looks like it's protruding. Now what accentuates that is the design, because the cord comes there. It looks like this part here is protruding. This is almost like looks like a bullet, whereas the Anker looks more like the general earphone. So even though it's only 2 or 3, well, it's actually 3 millimeters high in profile, this does look like it's actually wider. Okay, then comparing these two a little bit further, if we look at the actual cable, this lead is thicker. I can't determine if it's better quality. I don't know the constituents of the rubber, but it is definitely thicker, while the Phaiser is thinner. In terms of the cord, I've brought a vernier to measure and to just demonstrate, because you know, I don't expect you to just trust me. So let's measure the width of this cord. You're getting call it 1.1 mil thickness, and on the Anker you're getting 1.4. So you're getting 0.3 mil thicker cord, and that is actually quite substantial because that is almost 30% thicker in terms of the width, in terms of the profile. And then in terms of the width of the cord, let's measure that. 2.93 versus 2.5 versus 2.5 versus 2.9. So that is 0.4 mil actually wider. So that actually using the vernier actually demonstrates that this one is thicker. Now why is that important? Is because of this. So I would say the Anker would last longer. However, the thicker the cord, the more rigid it is. So what I did notice, because I have been using the Anker, is that this cord is actually quite rigid. Like if you look at it, how it moves, it keeps its form, while the Phaiser, if you look at it, it's more loose, which is actually a good feature. So if you're going for strength and rigidity, then the Anker is your best bet, and if you're going for flexibility, then the Phaiser is your best bet. So I'm not saying the one is better than the other. My personal preference is I prefer a more rigid cord, but again, it depends on you. Then the Phaiser has it doesn't have controls on the earbuds themselves. The pods don't have controls. Yes, there's a charging port, which I'll demonstrate right now. The control is on a little pad here. You've got a volume down button, which is also a previous track, and you've got a volume up button, which is also a next track, and then you've got a play button, which also backs as play, pause, on and off. And then there's a microphone. The Anker has no intelligence on the cord, but does have the volume up button, down button. There's the USB to charge it port, and then the power on, power off button, and answer call button. Both these allow you to answer cell phone calls and talk on your cell phone, as well as the Mpow. Now the reason I'm spending more time on these two is because these are of the same form factor. So these are almost like in direct competition to each other. Looking at the charging, how you charge it. Now the Phaiser is very specific about how you charge it. You open it and you turn. You've got to twist, actually twist. They say to don't pull it like that. So this is quite technical. You've got to open and turn, almost like you turn a bottle cap. And then just having a look at the physical ability to plug in the charging. I did find that it is a bit annoying trying to get this charger in there because it is recessed. So okay, well I'm sure as you get more and more experience at it, but if you don't look at it, you won't be able. It's not as easy to get this charging USB in here. You actually have to physically look at it to align it. Overall, it's a very good fit, high quality. I've got no problem with that. In terms of the construction, the plastics here, the plastic here is strong, and this little cap here feels like it's of a foil or aluminium material. The Anker, on the other hand, you charge it by in the same way. You press it on the side of the earphone though. The cap here is not that nice to fit in and out. You actually also have to make sure that it's in, otherwise while you're training you might get some moisture in there. So it is a rubberized, and both of these are, I think they have that point for the moisture. They're almost like capsules where you actually open and close for the charging port. So there we go, put the charging. That can also happen. You can find that this thing might be in the way, and then when you connect the charging cable, you find it actually bites into the cover. So that for me is a little bit annoying on the Anker. But again, it's a good fit. It is strong. There's no free play there. The Mpow, on the other hand, has the charging port on the side. You clip this, you unclip this, you pull it almost like a drawer. You pull it open, and then you can twist it to the side. Also, you almost have to hold it away, not my favorite as well, and fits in quite nicely. Also, premium fit, it's not loose at all. And then when you're done, you almost close the drawer. You push this back in, and then it covers, and it fits very nicely. In terms of the materials, I would consider this a high quality rubber. I would consider this a high quality, although thinner rubber, and the Mpow is almost like a straw, a high quality straw, or it's like very high quality. I don't know if you know what heat shrink is. So the wire is obviously in here. Now what you can immediately see is this is the most rigid, and in terms of the thickness, we can bring the vernier in here and see. You're looking at a cord of 3,8. And it's round, so it's, you know, call it, okay, 4 without squashing it, 3,9, yeah, 3,9 all round. And the length of this, which is, if you extend it, you'll see that this one is of a different design because it actually fits around the back of your head. So your ears goes in your ears like that, and that goes around the back of your head. I will wear them now and demonstrate the good and the bad of these earphones. The actual cord length is not very long. It's actually a pointless to measure it because it stays turgid. You're looking at 35. Okay, let's just talk about the electrical characteristic of these 3 earphones. Let's start with the Mpow. In terms of the electrical characteristic, we got Bluetooth 4.1. It is the operation range. It says it can operate 30 feet. The battery time, it says it's 8 hours, and it can stand by for up to 180 hours, and it takes 2.5 hours to charge. Looking at the Phaiser, the specs are somewhere here. Let's just see. Nope, the Phaiser now, sorry, looking at the Phaiser, you have also Bluetooth 4.1, the battery is 3.7 volts, its standby is up to 160 hours, and the music play is 5 hours. So, well, the talk time is 5 hours and the music play is 5 hours. So, according to their specification, this one is 8 and this one is 5, and the charging time is less than 2 hours. And then the Anker, on the other hand, is Bluetooth version 4.0, and the range is also 10 meters or 33 feet, and it also says that it can do 8 hours of music playback. So in terms of these 3, the Phaiser is supposed to have is specified to have the least battery life in terms of music and talk time or music playback. Right, pairing these devices, you press and hold you first switch on the device. In terms of the Anker, a little blue LED comes on here, and then when you turn it off, it's red, and you press and hold it, and what happens is it'll come up on your phone. Very easy to pair. The Phaiser, you press and hold the middle button when you turn it on, and it gets into pairing mode. And then Mpow, same story, you press and hold the power on button and you press it again for extended time. Then what happens is there's a little LED here. Let's turn this on. There we go. This is a multi-function button on the Mpow. Where's the light? And there's a microphone and there's the LED. So you press this multi-function button and it goes into pairing mode depending on how long you press it for. All this is stated in the instructions. You see now I don't know if you saw it flashed green there, and then that's green again. It's already paired. Now it's gone red. Right, it's turned off. Okay. In terms of the sound quality, I've listened to all three of these. As is, stock standard, the Phaiser has the best sound. That is if your graphic equalizer is on the flat position. Now, just a little bit about me, I have actually a master's in acoustic engineering. So my experience is I have a lot of experience in acoustics, and I can tell you that these earphones have the best sound without any additional equalization. If you just put these in your ear and you listen to them, I give it to the Phaiser. And why I give it to the Phaiser is there's a lot of headroom. When you listen to the Phaiser, you can close your eyes and you can feel like the music is all around you. However, the Anker definitely have the brightest sound. They sound clearer. These are, for me, the clearest sounding earphones. The Mpow has one problem. If this is not put in your ear deep enough, which all of these do have, but these are easier to insert in your ear than the Mpow. If you owing to the construction and then obviously this here, if this is not inserted into your ear deep enough, it actually sounds tinny. Tinny meaning it sounds like there's no bass, but that doesn't mean the earphone has no bass. This is more sensitive to how you place it in your ear than these two. So if you are an enthusiast, then I wouldn't recommend actually any of these earphones. The sound is good, but I wouldn't call it outstanding. Right, I will now demonstrate how they insert in your ear. I'm going to start with the Mpow. Now, what's important is the left and the right. Can you see that's the left? So now that must be on my left side. Now I'm going to wear it. Now, if you can see how it goes over your ear like this. Now, this is an actual problem which I didn't anticipate, is if you're a glasses wearing person, this actually doesn't work for me. You see this here? So this is actually a problem because it actually adds a space, and if it adds a space, then the earphone sits further away. The actual bud sits further away, and that is why I'm getting a tinny sound, because I can't get it in as deep because of this. And remember, this is turgid, so it's not like very relaxed. It hasn't got a high flexibility. It keeps its memory quite a lot, so it wants to go back to its position. So if I bend it this way, then while I'm training, it tends to go back. So that's a downfall of this earphone. However, what I do like about it is when you turn your head while you're training, there is no noise or effect of a cord moving. So this I have to give 10 out of 10 in terms of freedom while you're training. The Phaiser, okay, so on this side I'm going to put this one in. You can see what it looks like. It does look like a bullet in your ear. And if I do the left hand side with the rubberizing, so that's what it looks like. And then the Anker, look for the right, looks like that. I find the Anker the most comfortable, but then I have this rigid cord. So you see what happens with this cord is while you're training, it knocks around and it actually transmits the noise. When I say noise, I mean like the sound, because when you fiddle with this, it almost transmits the sound into your ear. So it's quite important to actually clamp this onto your clothes. So overall, in terms of sound, I've been quite happy with the Phaiser. I like the control. Oh yes, what is nice with the Phaiser one is when you switch it on, it actually tells you battery. It tells you about the battery. It'll say battery full, which is actually nice. So that it actually has some voice feedback. What I don't like about it is if you press and hold the plus button, it changes the track. And if you press it quickly, it just changes the volume. There is some confusion there because you have to remember quick press, very quick press. If you press it too, like the difference between a quick press and for volume and a press for changing next track is too close. So often you make it louder, and you might want to make 3 clicks at once. You'll press 1, 2, 3, and you've actually changed the next track. So that I believe maybe firmware update or something could improve that. That I'm not too happy about. But I do like the voice feedback when it tells you, when you switch it on, it actually says power on and things like that. The Mpow has one fundamental flaw. When you change the volume, when you get to the where's the volume adjustment? When you change the volume, when you get to the maximum, it goes beep, and that beep is too loud for your ears. It's quite annoying. And then the Anker is the least intelligent. Doesn't have that feedback, although I probably am going to use the Anker the most out of all these three. So that brings me to the end of my review. Overall, I would give the Mpow 10 out of 10 for the uniqueness of their design and the freedom. If I was going for a run, I might consider the Mpow. The Phaiser, I really like the control off the speaker. I don't like always having to touch my ear. I like this off the speaker, but then I have the problem with I don't like the design of the bullet in your ear look. It doesn't feel right for me. Then the Anker, on the other hand, kind of is your middle path. It's got bright sound, battery life's good, does what you need, overall quite good. I do have to admit that the Phaiser sits in the ear nicer. I feel like the pods or these buds are actually better than the Anker. I feel that the Anker isn't as sticky in your ear. So there's some pros and cons for each one. I think if you got between these two, I don't think you would be fundamentally unhappy with that or that. I don't think like there's any particular thing here that is a deal breaker on each one of these. This, with the glasses, as I said, that is a bit of a problem. The other option is to try and wear it the other way around. Although that left shows this way, the other option is to swap it around like that. Instead of having it going over your ear, you could maybe have it going under your ear, but it might, having the design of this. See, so this might actually solve the problem. I haven't actually used it in this opposite direction, because it is against their design, but I will try it and see if that does solve it. It probably won't, because the phasing of the direction of the pod is probably counterproductive if I wear it the wrong way around. So if you wear glasses, you might have a problem with that. Okay, so that brings me to the end, and thanks for watching.